Hardy Joe Ho. Oi, but we're loved by your mommies and dads, drink up me Hardy Joe Ho. Yo ho, a pirate's life for me. That's right, me hearties.
On her fucking thing.
Yeah. All right, I think we're on. All right.
Yo!
So you're the only one that's viewing it right now, right? This says one view.
I don't even know.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not a big deal.
Let's just see here.
All right, everybody. I guess I'm
What's
just,
up?
I'm just going to wait for... This is the hard part about doing this show is... So I'm staring right now at this little eye icon, and it lets me know when there's people that show up. So that one person just showed up. And then I got to sit here and look around with the comment section and figure that bullshit out, make sure we don't fucking fry the CPU or anything. Stu always gets pissed at me, too, because he's usually the one that does the title stuff. Yeah.
Let's try to, hey, who all's watching? Come on, make a comment. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Yeah, make yourself known.
To be fair, we did say 8:30 or 8, and they're rolling in now.
Oh, whatever, fuck them.
It's starting to come in. Anywho.
Y'all share this, too. It's easy. You hit a fucking button.
All right, so for the early viewers, you get a real treat. We have a guest tonight, and her name is Alexa. Alexa, say hi.
Hi there.
This is going to be awesome.
Alexa, tell us a joke.
What did the penguin wear to the prom?
Tuxedo.
Nothing.
That makes sense. Okay. All right. Dude, she's a slut. Look at her.
She is a slut. All right. Why are you laughing?
I've got it up on my phone right here so I can kind of see it. So I'm not looking at this fucking slideshow the whole time.
Right on. All right. Well, I guess we can kick it off for the two viewers.
Thank you, Dylan.
Clay and Stuart and Anthony could not be here tonight. Anthony had some pretty tragic stuff that went on.
Sorry
tonight.
about your homeboy, dude. I hope he pulls through. That sucks.
Definitely. And Stuart, he is working on IT stuff. He's doing the My Computer Career thing.
You can fucking suck it.
And I don't know what Clay said that some.
He's watching my nephew Colt.
Oh, that's right.
I say my nephew. It's actually his kid, but
that's right. And
Uncle Troy. I'm kind of Uncle Troy. So.
Uncle Troy. That's right.
Fuck, I've got to quit smoking, dude. Damn it.
So we have a special guest tonight, and her name is Alexa. Alexa, say hi.
Hi there.
What's really awesome about Alexa is we wanted to incorporate it in the show in the first place because no one ever does their fucking research at all.
I do.
So we said, well, okay, you do. You might, but for those that don't.
Full disclosure, I Googled this list of facts for later.
Yeah.
And I kind of researched it because I read through them and highlighted the ones. I didn't want to read 81.
Right.
So I kind of found like 25.
It's a little too long in the first place.
Yeah, but some of them are pretty cool that we can kind of touch up on
Sure.
and bullshit about, whatever.
Yeah, definitely. So let's see here. For those of you who don't know, we have a special guest here, Alexa. And again, Alexa helps us for fact checking. And I still want to incorporate it. I don't know how I'm going to do that, though, by putting it like in the middle of the table or something. That way, but we have to have like a lapel mic or something. That way it all kind of goes through.
We'll get there.
But for those of you that don't know, we're going to talk about the moon tonight. And there's a lot of school of thought about the moon. And I don't know if we're going to clear things up at all, but we're definitely going to discuss ideas and topics that are a little bit far out there. And this all started with me when I watched Ancient Aliens.
I love that show.
Alexa, how accurate is Ancient Aliens?
Sorry.
Yeah, she's going to
say
she's going to say sorry.
You're a fucking idiot, Alexa.
But for all intents and purposes, I wanted to start off with just the regular school of thought, things that were taught in school.
Yeah.
And then that regular school of thought is that the moon formed when the Earth was still kind of in its birthing place. I guess there were still tectonic plates around, volcanoes were going around, and everything was getting all destructive. And then what ended up happening was you had an asteroid that ended up hitting the Earth. A chunk of that Earth came out, and that's the reason why they also feel like there was a tilt in the axis, or the axis. Yeah,
yes.
Not axis.
Yeah, I read that too, that one big chunk blew off and a whole bunch of small particles, and the Earth actually had a ring for a while. And that all collected into the big chunk.
Yeah.
Is what I had picked up.
Look here. This is Stu. Fucking Stu. He's in class right now.
That's good. That's good. Dude, take it off the slideshow. I want to be able to see the comments so I can talk to these people because I've got serious lag here.
All right, fine. All right, so the concept is... You're welcome. So the reason why the Earth's axis is tilted is because something hit the Earth, and then a part of that became the moon, which stayed relatively in orbit. Now, that's the school of thought, but there's still some problems with that. And I'll let you go ahead while I fix this. Go ahead. What do you think?
As far as how the moon come off, like if it was actually the deal?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I could see that. Now, there's no way of actually knowing because, we weren't there. But, there's theories everywhere, and that seems to be the most logical to me.
It makes sense logically, yes. However, the problem that I start finding is just how close the moon is relative to the Earth and how that affects the tides.
Well, it used to be a lot closer.
It used to be a lot closer. What do you mean?
A lot closer. Well, it's one of these facts here. Let me see if I can get to that one real quick. No, I can't. Fuck that. There's too many. But the theory is, from what I collected, was that when the asteroid hit, the moon was only a few thousand miles off of the Earth's surface.
Really?
And it's slowly been moving away ever since. And there's an interesting fact I've got right here that's going to...
So how's it moving away if everything's still kept in orbit?
It's moving away because the two gravitational pull, obviously the Earth itself has gravitational pull on the moon. The Earth is trying to pull the moon towards us, and the moon is trying to do the exact same thing. But the differences in the gravitational pull is kind of like an airplane wing effect. It's not necessarily creating lift, but it's pushing away because the slow rotation of the moon, as far as the actual lunar days, it actually rotates. That itself is kind of creating its own gravitational lift, and I believe it's 1.5 centimeters a year.
Okay.
It's actually moving away from us.
Well, that would make sense. And I have seen that the sun also has some pull to it as well. Like, it's not as important as far as the moon. That's why, what they call it, like the tidal waves and everything. It comes from the lunar eclipses and, whenever the moon's close. But there are studies that show that even the sun also has some type of direct impact as far as where
I'd imagine
the waves...
so. Yeah, for sure. That makes perfect sense.
And that strikes me very interesting as far as if we're looking for all these new planetary life systems, or we're looking for these new planets that could contain these things of life, don't you think it's important, if you do find a planet of water, for there to be some type of moon or some type of celestial, I don't know, thing around it to maintain that type of homeostasis?
Yes and no. I mean, that would depend if your homeostasis depends on a briny ocean to create, weather, so on and so forth. It could just, yeah, I agree. That would make sense to have its own lunar body that pulls these tides in and out. But that's if, of course, it's a planet that's got an ocean.
So, okay, if the planet doesn't have an ocean, let's just say it has another type of, let's say even ice, for example, would that still have some type of pull if there was like a lunar source around it?
Yes, they actually say there's earthquakes on the moon. There's moonquakes.
Moonquakes.
Moonquakes. They're not nearly as severe as they are. They're much closer to the surface because the tectonic plates on the moon aren't floating on a thing of magma, on a giant core of magma. The core of the moon is solid iron, and it's in the reference to our core, it would be like a basketball to a golf ball. That's the reference in size.
Interesting. Well,
and it's the Earth's gravity.
You can Google this, and it says the giant impact hypothesis. This is what we're talking about, the school of thought of what goes on.
The giant whack.
Sometimes called
Big Bang of the moon.
Big Splash, or the Theia impact, suggests that the moon formed out of the debris left over a collision between Earth and an astronomical body the size of Mars, approximately 4.5 billion years ago, in the Hadean Eon. That's about 20 to 100 million years.
The Hadean Eon, that's kind of like Jurassic, Triassic. That's just a section of time.
I guess so.
Okay,
sure. Makes sense to
me.
me.
Good guess.
There's also this guy named J.P. Robinson. and he's a UFO researcher. Now we're going to get into the UFO stuff. Here we go.
Yes.
But so this guy, he researches conspiracy theories, UFO, ufology, whatever you want to call it. And he says the moon revolves at exactly 1/100th of the speed that the Earth turns on its axis. It is also precisely 400 times smaller than the sun and exactly 400 times closer to the Earth.
That's why they appear the same size in the sky.
Right,
I have that right here.
And it's fascinating.
Yes.
When you think about something like that, patterns and number sequences are consistent when looking at all of the moon's major aspects, contrary to the inconsistencies of all their planets and the moons in our solar system. Now, that to me is extremely interesting because that doesn't explain how precise and why everything just kind of fits the way it does. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like when people start looking at solar eclipses or lunar eclipses, it just seems like where the moon's at seems so perfect.
Perfect.
As far as you might just get a little ring of sunshine around, but you're not supposed to look directly into it, which is also very strange.
Oh, burn a ring in your eyes.
So I don't know if you guys watch Ancient Aliens, but I love that show. And they talk about some really interesting ideas as far as, and there is some scientific basis that they use. One of them is that the Earth, because of the distance, if you lost the moon, you would have catastrophes all over. It's just as far as just how Earth is in general. So right there, just already seems that the Earth is in a perfect place just around the moon, because
almost as if God created it.
Well, there we go. There we go. Now we're getting into some design. We're getting into some type of artificial intelligence or some benevolent design from a creator. But I don't know. It seems too.
You mean
bizarre.
like in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Maybe.
In the very end, when he goes to that British, it was what the fuck was his name?
I don't know.
Flothy Bartfost or something like that.
What?
Yeah, that was the guy's name. That's the creator, the planetary creator company.
Really?
Yeah, you seen the movie, right?
No.
You haven't?
No.
Oh shit.
Say it again.
Well, in the end of the movie, they find their way to this one planet, and there's these portals they jump through. Well, the main character gets left behind, and he runs into this dude that's dressed like a Wookiee, kind of. And he goes, come with me. I'll show you what the problem is, blah, 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 whatever. And they go into this basically like a warehouse style, like planetary depot. And they wind up getting on this, like, looks like a carnival ride. It's all shaking as they're riding. And next thing you know, it just speeds up. And next thing, they're just blasting out into space on this platform. And it's basically this giant logistics operation of humans putting together chunks of land out in space and then sinking them down onto a planet, like a hollow planet. And basically this company is responsible for making planets.
Really?
That's what they do. Yeah. You haven't seen Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Dude, that'd be right up your alley.
Really?
You have to see the movie. Yeah, it's kind of corny. It's sci-fi and it's kind of bullshitty. But
Alexa, what is the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is the first of 5 books in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy comedy science fiction trilogy by Douglas Adams.
Is that the one you're talking about?
Well, yeah, I'm sure it's a book. I haven't read a book.
You ever heard that? The book's so much better.
I'm not much of a reader. So, I mean, I read magazines. Yeah.
Adam Franklin says, Austin, you must watch. Look, to be honest,
Absolutely.
I think I saw maybe a little bit of it. I don't remember. This was back in the Marines, and I was real drunk all the time. And so I do remember
not a Marine drunk.
Vaguely.
I don't fucking believe it.
Is this the one where the answer is like number 54 or something? The answer to the universe is...
yeah.
That's the one?
32, I think, is what she says.
32?
Yeah, because they find the supercomputer that these little mice people built, and it's supposed to be the all-knowing computer.
Really?
Basically like their Alexa,
so that,
if you will.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, you like that?
I do.
You like that little plug?
Very nice.
But anyway.
Alexa, tell us a joke. C is too fast. Go ahead.
Well, anyway, they built this computer to come up with the meaning of life. What is the answer to the meaning of life? And she's like,
it's just a number?
Yeah, it turns into a number. At first, whenever they first do it, it's kind of a flashback because one guy's telling the story that I'm just telling you. And there's this huge party. There's just millions of people standing around this giant computer, and the computer is literally a big head and just a body just sitting there like the thinking man, you know. And she's just, it's a girl computer. She goes, I don't know the answer yet. I have to think about it. And everyone in the crowd's like, what the fuck? Like, well, how long do you have to think about it? She's like, 1 million years. And they're all
there
like,
you go.
what the fuck?
I like that.
And that's whenever they come back and they get 32 or whatever the fucking number was.
Okay.
It's just desolate. Everything's broke down. And whenever they get to the computer, she's watching an old tube TV that's just this little bitty, like no bigger than this computer screen. And it's this massive mountain-sized computer, right? And she's like, shut up, I'm watching TV. And I was like, we're here to find out the meaning of life. She's like, 32.
It's just like, fuck off.
And they're like, what the fuck? One of the guys is like a captain of the ship, and he's a real wacky character, and he's like dying to find the answer. Like, it's his life purpose, and he's the president of the galaxy.
Right.
And it's, dude, you have to see that fucking movie for real. Oh, spoilers.
That's
My bad, Dylan.
That's interesting. Interesting. So you go back to that. You were talking about they were building planets.
Yes, that was this guy's company.
Huh.
And
so do
what
you
I
think
say is basically picture like a cherry lift.
Okay.
Right? Or like the electricians when they're working on the power lines, they're in that basket. It's a basket no bigger than that. And
Okay.
it's him and this dude. They're standing in it. It's on this long arm. And they're going down this long chute real slow. The next thing you know, it just starts fucking hauling ass.
Okay.
And they get to these doors, and they're all like, oh, my God, we're going to die, blah, 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 whatever. And next thing you know, the doors open. They just jute out into space like 1,000,000 miles an hour. And this is this giant, it's basically a warehouse floor, but it's in space. And there's all these machines and people just floating around, and they're putting together sections of land, mountains, big giant bowls to make lakes and ocean, whatever, and you see these giant arms and machines and spaceships just lowering these pieces down and just setting them in to a giant global frame. It looks like an iron frame of like a skyscraper or something, but a big globe, and they're just making things eat. And even in the part of the script that he says, he's like, I'm responsible for Norway. I won an award for it or something.
I won an award for Norway.
I think it was Norway. But he's like, oh, look, they're finishing the oceans right now. And there's a guy with a huge, just like water hose, and it's just pumping water out. And there's a guy painting the side of the mountains in New Mexico, just like
badass.
blood orange, and that's great. It's visually striking for sure. It's a great movie.
The one thing that really intrigues me about that concept is somebody that could just think of that and just start it's that whole creative process.
Right,
It's the creator, if that was what they were doing. And so when I started watching this Ancient Aliens bit, and they talked about how there might be an actual design from artificial intelligence, I don't know, it makes a little bit of a sense.
I wouldn't even
me.
say it's artificial intelligence. If you ask me honestly, I think all these aliens that people are seeing are like more or less holographic images from like a higher human race.
Okay.
Like if you think of Halo or Elysium. You saw Elysium?
Sure.
How there's that giant, there's like the world's elite lives in space, and you have to take a ship. You only certain people get in and out, whatever. And I think they're just keeping all of us stupid. I think that they are the ones that are watching over us, and whenever like either we die or something, like we get zapped up there into like either a sleeve or like our real bodies, like we're living down here like Matrix. Essentially,
right.
Like there's just another level, and whenever we die, it's like no big deal. We just wake up there like, oh fuck, I was basically playing a fucking video game.
That is another school of thought, that there's a huge advanced race that, and I don't subscribe to this. I'm just putting it all out there.
That's just a theory of mine. I'm crazy. Don't listen to it.
The theory is that
if the government's listening, I'm not. Well, Alexa's here, so the government's definitely listening.
When the soul dies, that the moon is a station from highly evolved beings that have created this.
That's been a theory for
that
millions
the
of
soul
years.
goes through, and then I guess like there's that reincarnation process all over again, and then they could come back. Now, look, that's all pie in the sky, wonderful stuff, but we need scientific data. We need scientific facts to back it up.
Do we need it though?
Well, I'm just saying. Well, one of them.
Oh, in order for us to prove it, yeah, of course. But that's just it. In proof, people are just going to argue that anyway. You know, so I think that goes into what Stu said a couple weeks back of how the human race as a whole is idiotic. It's
Sure.
you can't just put that information out there and it be prophecy.
Right.
If some official, the real scientific government official with like cosmic top clearance came to just you, and said, "Hey, I can't tell you what's really going on, but tells you what's going on."
Right.
That's not damaging for what they're trying to keep from us.
Well, then explain to me how come there's been a ring in the moon, and I don't mean a ring like Saturn. I mean like there has been an actual reverberation. Reverberation? Is that the word?
Sounds right.
Is that a word? Reverberation?
We'll go with it.
Whatever. There's been a reverb, a massive reverb that looks and hears like a bell. So
I've heard that.
Explain to me how the moon starts vibrating like a bell. Go ahead. I'll wait.
Okay, let's see here. If I was to think about this,
Stu says it's got obelisks that trap the soul and keep you in reincarnated state so you can't evolve to the next dimension.
I would imagine that it's with the fact that it doesn't have atmosphere, the electromagnetic waves that the sun produces, the EMP off of them being a solid iron core basically, would be pulling that iron core into vibration because it's just going to wrap around it and it's going to be pulling from different directions. Essentially from one direction from the sun, but it's just going to totally engulf it. So I'd imagine that itself would create some form of vibration at the molecular level. So I would think that iron core itself is buzzing during like a solar storm or so on and so forth. If that's what makes sense to me.
Stu says some speculate that it's hollow. That's why there's a reverberation. And honestly, that does make a little bit of sense to me.
And when you want to get down to it, technically it kind of is hollow. They say that it has the volume of the Pacific Ocean, but half the density.
Well, okay, so
most of the moon's surface is silt. It's finer than concrete.
If Einstein was correct when he talked about density and mass, and if you start looking up at the moon and the relationship between the moon and the Earth, you get something called tidal locking. You know what tidal locking is?
Explain.
All right, so here's the basic principle. My fist, is going to represent the moon, right?
Okay.
And let's just say, this uptime is like the Earth, okay? Well, so the uptime spins, right? The Earth spins.
Right.
And the moon doesn't seem to spin whatsoever. Now think about that.
It does.
It does. It actually does. But it spins so slowly, and it's called tidal locking, to where it is in perfect orbit as far as it almost looks synchronistic as far as where it spins.
That's why we only see one side of the moon.
That's the dark side of the moon.
The actual moon itself takes 29 Earth days to make one full rotation. It also takes 29 Earth days to make one full rotation around the Earth. That's why we only see one side.
Right.
It's tumbling on one point.
Right, and that makes sense as far as...
And there's no such thing as the dark side of the moon.
Well,
it reflects light just as much as the side that we see.
What do you think's on the other side of the moon?
Moon.
Moon?
Moon.
Just moon?
I think, well, I mean, logically, if you look at it, if you look at just the moon itself, you're like, that's the fucking moon.
Uh-huh.
Well, in theory, like, what's on the other side of the Earth?
China.
Right, but land, water.
Sure.
What's on our side? Land, water.
China.
People.
Yeah.
In theory, so logically to me, that's going to be like the moon's on the other side of the moon. They do say that the largest crater in our solar system is on the back side of the moon.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. That's some interesting stuff to me, because
that's a hard hit, man.
I've also heard theories that there's space stations and military bases and all sorts of shit.
I don't know, because they said that they would see.
How would you know if it's on the dark side of the moon?
That's true, and it's what the government's telling us, right?
What?
That's what the government tells us.
I don't know if the government's telling us
this. There's no space
Google's
stations
telling
on the
me this.
moon. See, where did I find that here?
Where is it?
It's somewhere in here. Somewhere in all my fucking papers.
Uh-huh. As noted astronomer Dr. Carl Sagan wrote in 1966, a natural satellite cannot be a hollow object. Now, that's interesting. So if the moon is a hollow artificial construct, as the facts lead us to understand, who built the moon? How did they get into its present orbit, and why did they put it there? And how is that our moon remains stationary in Earth's orbit, never revealing the dark side to us? I'll wait.
Because it only spins in 29 Earth days.
Yeah? What other crazy?
That's from my Google research.
What other crazy facts do you have for the moon?
I got a whole bunch of them. Let's just read off a couple. Let's see here. The moon is actually more egg-shaped than it is round. Let's see here. When the moon was formed 4.6 billion years ago, it was 14,000 miles from Earth. Now it's more than 280,000 miles away. The moon looked 3 times larger when it was that close to the Earth.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Is that when you're talking about it's closer, or it was closer back then than it is now?
Yes, but there's another one I'll touch up on that. Because the moon has no atmosphere, its temperature ranges from minus 200 to 200 degrees Fahrenheit from night and day, and that's actually in shadow and light as well. But the fact that there's no atmosphere on the moon, the shadows are pitch black. The astronauts would say that in the shadows they couldn't even see their feet.
That's pretty cool.
Because there's no just ambient light.
Right.
You know, I saw someone posted something on Facebook.
So that would be the same thing as if you tried to travel around to the dark side of the moon. There would be no light. No light would hit that.
You would never see it.
You wouldn't see shit. You would just be dark.
Right. It's a new moon effect.
Huh. Interesting.
Here it is. The largest crater in the solar system is found on the moon, called the South Pole Aitken. Yeah, South Pole Aitken. This giant crater is on the far side of the moon and is 1,550 miles in diameter. 1,550 miles across is how big the crater, just the crater itself, is. That's not to mention the fallout for the blast radius or whatever you want to call it.
Robert asked a pretty interesting question. Is the moon on an axis? Alexa, is the moon on an axis?
Yes, that's why we only see one side.
Here's something I found from the article Near Side of the Moon on Wikipedia.
Glory hole.
Only one side of the moon is visible from Earth because the moon rotates on its axis at the same rate that the moon orbits the Earth.
Fucking
a situation known as synchronous rotation or tidal locking. Did that answer your question?
No.
Thanks for your feedback.
What a fucking cunt. I don't know if that answers your question, Robert.
Call her a cunt.
Alexa, you are a cunt. Okay.
Well, fuck you too.
We just went to the dark side of the Alexa.
Let's see here. From the moon, Earth is almost 4 times the size of a full moon from Earth. And it never moves across the moon sky, which would make sense on the rotation thing.
Right.
So the Earth is always in one spot, and it'd be about the size of, I guess, if you held up a basketball over your head.
I don't know if that answered the question for Robert. Let's see here.
But yes, the moon is on an axis.
So it is on an axis.
It is on an axis. If we only see one face,
so that's
of the
what
moon.
she was saying. That's why it's tidal locking. That's
exactly.
why.
Yes.
So
yes.
it almost seems that the moon and the Earth have a direct relationship.
Oh, absolutely.
And
in reference to the size of the Earth, the moon is actually the largest celestial body.
Yeah.
The largest lunar celestial body.
Right.
Compared to its actual.
So what would happen if we put another moon out there? Chaos?
Like same size? Like this?
I don't know.
Let's be specific here. We can put one out to the size of a basketball. It won't do shit.
Sure.
But if we have another moon out there that's 3/4 of the size or the same size, I'd imagine it'd be complete fucking chaos.
That'd be interesting.
They say that if the Earth was entirely water, if all we had was water here, the tidal surge would be about 25 feet high, and it would rotate around the Earth in 25 hours and 14 minutes or something like that, chasing the moon. So there'd be a 25-foot wave constantly going around the Earth. So imagine if you had 2 of them.
Yeah.
It'd be like the world's largest wave pool.
Fuck you. Exactly.
Everything would be going nuts.
Well, that's what I'm thinking as far as like if you really want to start, let's say, controlling tidal waves. Let's say all of a sudden something happens to where a hurricane is starting to come in. What if we had another type of moon or some type of satellite that was large enough that we could put in orbit so quick to where it would totally take away from that destruction?
I don't know. I think it'd be easier to. I don't know. I think
Adam says, "I'm pretty sure our oceans would go batshit bonkers."
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I mean, if you use precision and you use mathematics, I mean, I don't see why it's out of complete relevance. But okay, keep going.
This one's cool. Unlike the rising sun, which moves along the horizon in the same pattern every year, all right, the rising moon follows a complex 18.6-year cycle. Ancient civilizations understood this complex cycle and built monuments that tracked the moon's movement.
Huh. Interesting.
That would explain a lot of things like pyramids.
Ooh.
And like Stonehenge or maybe the Easter Island heads.
That's a really good point.
Maybe that's had something to do with it.
I never thought of it that way. Read that again.
Unlike the rising sun, which moves along the horizon in the same pattern every year, the rising moon follows a complex 18.6-year cycle. Ancient civilizations understood this complex cycle and built monuments that tracked the moon's movement. 18.6 years it comes up and falls in different positions.
Right. Huh. That's interesting. And, I mean,
which would make perfect sense because whenever, as the sun, you know, we're on a tilted axis, that rotating axis, basically,
right?
That explains our seasons. Well, the moon is orbiting us.
Alexa,
like 20 or 30 degrees.
How many degrees is the Earth tilted on its axis?
This might answer your question. 30 degrees Celsius is 86 degrees Fahrenheit.
Did it?
No, but whatever. But simply, though, to put it plainly, with the fact that we are on this spinning axis, this rotating axis, where our poles actually move in circles.
Right.
The moon itself is going in a straight line around us and follows that.
Right.
So
we talked about that earlier. The tidal locking? That's the reason why there's a dark side of the moon?
Let's say backside of the moon.
Okay, backside.
Because once I read that, it says, you know, that it reflects. It makes sense that it reflects just as much light as
the ass end of the moon.
The ass end of the moon. I love it.
I like that.
I love it. That's it. Oh, yeah, this one I mentioned to you. The moon's phases have historically been linked with madness. The word lunatic comes from this association.
That. Yeah, that's interesting.
People act fucking nuts in a full moon.
Well, I mean, we can go to the obvious of the horoscopes, and everyone's sitting there. They're trying to adapt their personalities based on the star alignments. Right. I mean, how can we never hear anything about the moon besides the lunatic part?
Well, I mean, according for us, yeah. I mean, that makes perfect sense, but I don't think that, you know, they want to give us that kind of information.
Who's they?
Who's they? The powers that be.
The powers that be.
Yeah, well, I mean, that makes sense, though. I mean, they don't want to be like, yeah, the moon does this to your brain. You know, it could pull the water in your own head. You know, in theory, if it pulls oceans, imagine what it can do to the drops of water in your head, less than half a gallon.
Oh, you're going to start having people going crazy.
I'm just saying, it's a possibility. It is a possibility.
It's a possibility, but now you're talking about the ratio between the actual gravitational pull between a moon and an individual's head.
Right.
Plus, there's a cranium that's you know what I mean? So
doesn't matter, gravity. Gravity cuts right through that.
So you're saying that the liquid in the brain is being pulled by the moon in certain ways, and it just kind of permeates out through the skull?
I don't think it permeates out, but it will. Picture a ballast in a boat.
Well, Stuart does make a good point saying we are 80% water. Now that does make sense. I will subscribe to that because that's the permeability that comes through your body.
Yeah.
We're not talking. I mean, this seems to be the end game. It ain't going to come through your skull. I don't think.
Somewhere in here, I mean, I read that in this list actually is Aristotle and Pliny the Elder believed that full moon affected the water in a human's brain, causing insanity or irrational behavior.
So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna blame it on the moon.
I mean, it's not far out.
Not my fault. It's the fucking moon.
Dude, it's not far out. The moon controls the weather on our planet, for Christ's sake.
Sure.
No, then bottom line, if we don't have tides, we don't have moving weather patterns.
Okay, I get that. Okay, so is that why wolves? Is that why the wolves howl at the moon?
I'm sure it has something to do with it.
It doesn't.
I know that
it doesn't.
It doesn't.
No,
I know that deer
it does not.
The deer when deer go in rut, has to do with the lunar cycle. A lot of people believe it just happens after the first freeze, like it gets really cold, and these people are like, oh, they automatically go into panic mode and they just start reproducing. But it's been proven that it actually has to do with the lunar schedule in the fall.
The presence of the moon when a wolf howls, as it turns out, is purely coincidental and circumstantial. Canine experts have found no connection between the phases of moon and wolf howling. Wolves pipe up more often during the night because they're nocturnal.
And imagine being a full moon. They can probably see like day out there.
That's what I would argue. I would argue it's because they can see. Now, have you ever thought there's times where you've gone out at night and the moon's not present?
Right.
And you have no light whatsoever.
Yeah.
So it probably makes sense for if you're a canine or a wolf or whatever, and you're going to go up to the highest point to where you can see because the light's being presented that way, and then you're making your little howl or whatever.
But that's just natural. As a hunter, I know that when there's a full moon, when it's a full moon or like half moon, at least half moon, hunting, the evening hunt sucks. It sucks because the deer are going to move around at night.
So it's just based on light.
More or less, yeah, which comes off of the
moon. Why not? Aren't deers made up of 60% water or 80% water or whatever?
I'm sure something like that.
Stu, look it up.
Yeah.
Alexa, what percentage of water are deers made up of?
Deers?
I don't know that one.
Well, what is it? Not deers?
It's deer.
Deer. My bad. Alexa, what percentage of water are deer made up of?
My bad.
don't know that one.
She doesn't know it.
Well,
okay, so let's think of something. Okay, let's think about the things that are actually in water, like the sea, for example. So if we're making that same argument that we're affected by the moon because we're made up of 80% water, that now means that sharks and everything that swims in the ocean would be somehow affected. Now, we're not talking about the pull from the tidal wave. We're just talking about their behavior in general.
right, which in theory, it probably could be. I don't know that for a fact. I don't know if the full moon makes sharks, or fish hunt or go after more shit. I don't know. I don't know, but it would make sense to me if someone of credible scientific background been like, yeah, absolutely. I'd be like, okay, well, that makes sense.
It makes sense, but I anytime I've seen something that makes sense, typically it doesn't.
It's kind of like
there's always some
sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. But still, though, I mean, that's good enough for me.
Stu says, Alexa ain't getting my job. Fucking coont. Here we go.
This one's pretty cool.
Alexa.
Oh, go for it.
Give me a random fact about the moon.
Here's a fact about moon. The moon's rotational period is 3 weeks, 6 days.
The moon's got a period. Moon's a female.
Actually, yeah, it's true. They say that the sun was always associated with
As the male
god,
the male energy.
whereas obviously the moon would be
The female.
and the different phases of the moon represented different female gods.
The period.
The period,
Yeah. Isn't that awesome?
the rag.
Look at us. That's what it is. That's what a blood moon is.
Fuck, totally.
That's science. Thank you, Alexa.
This one's cool. Like a 13,000-year-old eagle bone found in France appears to have served as a counting stick to track the phases of the moon.
Interesting.
So evidently, I guess they found a worksheet with it.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that telescopes into the next one. The oldest known map of the moon is about 5,000 years old. Was found carved into a rock.
Really?
In the prehistoric tomb at Noath, County Meath in Ireland.
5,000 years ago?
Before this was discovered, the oldest known lunar map was by Leonardo da Vinci, which was created in 1505.
That's interesting.
So there's some drunk Irish dude.
That's so interesting.
5,000 years old, carving the moon into a rock, carving a map of a moon into a rock.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I got to go to Ireland.
I've never thought of it that way. Dude, the question, though, now, 5,000 years ago, how were they mapping shit on the moon? Were they mapping it on the moon, or was it just in retrospect to where it is on the Earth?
There's no detail of that. All I said, the oldest known map of the moon is 5,000 years old. So I'd imagine this probably looks like a caveman drawing. But nonetheless, that's someone saying, hey, this is my moon graffiti.
So I started looking up to see if if there wasn't a moon, what would happen to us? What would happen to the animals? And what I got was the moon's sudden absence would also confuse animals. In 2013, the Journal of Animal Ecology, a researcher found animals that use vision as their primary mode of interacting with the world beneficial to like survival.
Right.
So, for example, like bats would probably thrive because they work on sonar. They don't need to have the light.
Right.
So now you have to start thinking of like how the evolution of animals would be.
And how quickly that would happen.
Exactly. Which is really interesting if you start thinking about, like, so you're talking about, like, you're a hunter, right?
Yes.
You got to hunt. You have to have light. You have to have some source of light.
Yes.
You can't just use you can't be like Daredevil. Just sit there and start making clicking noises.
Well, luckily, it's just 2018. We have cool things like thermal imagery and stuff
Sure.
for nighttime pig hunts, coyote hunts,
Sure.
night varmint hunts, but you can't shoot a deer after dark.
So this is going to be a stretch, but could we assume, or could we give most credit to the moon for all of our thermal technology?
How would that?
I don't know. Okay. Like I said, it was a stretch.
There was a stretch.
Heppenstall Lee Raymond says, I would say they mapped the moon by its shades in the sky.
What do you mean by shades? You mean like the dark spots that are on the moon?
The dark spots on the moon?
Oh, no. He means by its places in the sky. Like they mapped it.
Kind of like the celestial bodies, like
Right.
Aries and
Right.
Sagittarius? I don't know.
Raymond, touch on that again, buddy.
What are they?
I want to know what you think on that.
Yeah.
The first time I met Raymond, he poured me a big gulp amount of Crown XR on Christmas Day after I'd already drank a bottle of Crown at my parents' house.
Really?
I just showed up to Clayton's house, and he was there. He's like, hey, man, I'm Raymond. I'm Clayton's brother. I'm like, what's up, dude? I'm Troy. He's like, hey, I got something better than what you're drinking. I'm like, oh, what's that? He goes, here, come here. You got a cup? I'm like, yeah, man, I got a cup. I got a big fucking cup. And he goes, here. I hear him get ice, and I'm like, oh, he's cool. He's making me a drink. This guy's all right. And I see him grab the bottle and just, I'm just rimmed this fucking, like, it had to be a 20-ounce glass of Crown XR. He pulled this gallon jug, and I started chugging.
That's too much.
No, well, not back then it wasn't.
That's too much.
But hey, thanks for that, Raymond. You're my man. Merry fucking Christmas, bud.
All right, what else? What other facts we got?
Well, let's see here. The moon has just 1/6 of the Earth's gravity. That means I weigh about 300 pounds. I would weigh 50 pounds on the moon.
Oh, okay.
And they say if you're the world record. Let's see here. The high jump world record is 8.2 feet. On the moon, that would be about 50 feet.
Because it doesn't have an atmosphere. We'll get to that. Keep going.
Let's see, the same side of the moon always faces the Earth because of,
that would be, we covered that.
The Earth rotates 1,000 miles per hour. The moon rotates 10 miles per hour.
Right. So it's still moving. It just appears like it's not.
Right. Let's see here. The phrase "once in a blue moon" traditionally.
Okay, let's go back to that for a second. Sorry, that just piqued my interest.
Okay, let's hit it.
So it's moving very slowly.
Yes.
But it's still rotating.
Yes.
So that means that if someone was looking at the moon constantly, 24 hours, or what is it, 27 hours, I forget as far as what it rotates, you'll be able to see the dark side of the moon, or the ass end of it.
Yes, and actually there are peaks that, because it's egg-shaped and because it does rotate so slowly, they say that you can see spots of the backside on the edges of the edge of.
Right.
Basically. So
how come they don't have any maps on here? Like if you Google, can you Google the dark side of the moon and they don't show it?
I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know. I've never done it.
We should have done that. We should have done that in show prep.
Should have done that.
Stu asked, what's the vertical leap record on the moon? You remember?
No.
I don't remember.
No.
A lot.
All
right, what else we got?
I remember there was an astronaut that hit a golf ball that said there was no chance of finding it.
Really?
They said it looked like it just disappeared into space.
They played golf on the moon?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of
here. Yeah, well, they hit one golf ball, and they said the first golf ball completely disappeared.
Really?
They hit it, it just went and just kept going up and just kept going up, and they thought it went out of the orbit. They
Interesting.
Thought it went to space. It hit it so
Do you know what astronaut that was?
No.
I got to look that up. That's interesting. All right, what else we got?
Let's see here. Driving a car to the moon would take 130 days. A modern rocket takes 13 hours, ballpark. Speed of light.
Wait. So it takes 13 hours to get to the moon?
13 hours in a modern rocket.
What?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
That's it?
Yeah.
I would have. Wow.
It was Apollo 13 and Apollo 11 took 4 days and 45 minutes or something like that. But they only had a 100th of the technology that our cell phones have.
Interesting. Okay.
So they were literally Oregon trailing their fucking way to the moon.
I would have thought it'd be
quite
longer.
Literally.
I thought it'd be longer than 13 hours.
How long do you think the speed of light takes to get to the moon? Just guess.
How long is the speed? Alexa.
No.
How long is it's? Say it again.
Sorry, I don't know that one.
What?
Traveling by speed of light. How fast would it take from right here to the moon?
I'm gonna say 3 seconds.
1.52.
Ah, I was close.
Yeah, that's fucking fast.
That's weird.
The volume of the Earth's moon is the same as the Pacific Ocean. I already said that. Okay, here it was. Here's what I wanted to bring up earlier. According to the Outer Space Treaty, the moon is under the same jurisdiction as international waters. The treaty also says the moon can be used for peaceful purposes by all nations and prohibits weapons of mass destruction or military bases of any kind on the moon.
Interesting.
That's the Outer Space Treaty.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, how about that?
That is interesting.
I want to read that treaty.
I do too.
I want to pull that up and read it.
What is that called again?
The Outer Space Treaty.
Highlight that. We'll take a look at it after the show.
Okay.
Let's see. We got 45 minutes. All right. So I got a little something prepared for you.
No, I got one more. This is the one I wanted to.
Okay,
this is it. Approximately 15 billion years ago.
15 billion, yeah.
15 billion. But the moon was created 4 point. Anyway, approximately 15 billion years ago, the moon and Earth's gravitational pulls on each other would stabilize. Oh, in approximately 15 billion years. So 15 billion years from now, the moon and Earth's gravitational pulls on each other would stabilize. But in approximately 7 billion years, the sun will have become a red giant star, completely engulfing both of us.
Oh,
Earth and Moon.
That's lovely.
So, yeah, that'd be cool, but depressing at the same
time. I was about to say, thanks for depressing us, buddy.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, so I've got a little game prepared for you.
Yes.
For you and Alexa. Not yet. Shut up, Alexa.
Bitch.
Okay, so you can
slut.
you can choose pass or play. But just know
Yes.
you're going up against Alexa, so
You're going down,
shut up,
bitch.
Alexa. Okay. So you get the first choice. You want to pass or play?
I'll play. Let's hit it.
Okay. What is the radius of the moon?
Fuck. Like actual feet and miles? Like to the number?
Yes, what is the radius of the moon?
I know it's 1/6 the size of Earth.
Uh-huh.
Or no, it's 1/5.
Uh-huh.
That's it. That's all I got.
Okay. That would be incorrect. Alexa, what is the radius of the moon?
The moon's radius is 1,080 miles, 1,700.
That is correct.
kilometers.
That's a point for Alexa.
Bullshit. You even have a score. Dude, this is
Okay.
awesome.
Next question. Oh, wait, do you want to pass or play?
Like, I'll fucking play.
Okay, I was about to say. What is the Sea of Tranquility on the moon?
The Sea of Tranquility is the main giant dark spot that we can see, which is actually called Maria.
That is correct. Woo! That's 1 point for Troy.
Suck it, Alexa.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay. What historic day did Neil Armstrong walk on the moon?
April 11th?
That's your final answer?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Incorrect. Alexa,
Fucking goats.
what historic day did Neil Armstrong walk on the moon?
July 21st, 1969 to July 21st, 1969.
Incorrect. At least on my page.
Yeah, bitch. Just know it all.
I have it July 20th, 1969.
So how do you...
She said the 21st. You both get no points.
Okay, cool.
Okay, number 5. What is the man on the moon?
The man on the moon is a mountain formation that creates a shadow appealing to a man's face. It may not be a mountain formation, but there appears to be a man's face on the lunar surface.
I'll give it to you. Very
Close
nice.
enough.
Very
Close enough.
nice.
Thank you, thank you. I'm a pretty fart smeller.
All right, let's see here. Okay. What is the name of the largest crater that can be seen on the moon?
That can be seen?
That can be seen on the
Fuck,
moon.
I read this. I don't know.
Alexa, what is the name of the largest crater that can be seen on the moon?
This might answer your question. The biggest known planetary moon by diameter in the solar system is Ganymede at 3,274 miles.
That is correct.
Fuck.
Okay.
It's bullshit.
Okay. What is the distance between Earth and the moon?
18 hours by rocket, 130 days by car, 1.52 seconds by speed of light.
Alexa,
So no.
what is the distance between Earth and the moon?
The moon's distance is 239,000 miles, 384,000 kilometers.
That's wrong.
That is correct.
That is wrong. It's 130 days by truck.
Oh, okay. This is an easy one. Does the moon have an atmosphere?
And I got full encompassing atmosphere? No, but there are gases that come out of the moon. So yeah, there's atmosphere on the moon.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. That is
I
correct.
can't believe I got that right.
That is correct. Yes, the moon does have a very thin atmosphere. Okay. Ooh, am I getting some temperature?
Let's do it.
All right. You want to pass or play?
I'm playing. I'm in it to win it. Let's do it.
What is the moon temperature during the day?
I know it's over 200 degrees Fahrenheit. That's all I know.
Okay, I'll give it to you.
Yeah!
I'll give it to you. It is 243 degrees Fahrenheit. Actually, here, let's see what Alexa would say. Alexa, what is the moon temperature during the day?
Average temperatures of the moon's surface are reported, but temperatures of different areas will vary greatly depending upon whether it is in sunlight or shadow. Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter measured the lowest summer temperatures in craters at the southern pole at 35 K, minus 238 degrees Celsius, minus 397 degrees Fahrenheit, and just 26 K, minus 247 degrees Celsius, minus 413
Nope.
degrees Fahrenheit.
Nope, not
Close
on my
to the
paper,
winter
it's not.
solstice in North Polar
And that's the one that
Permite
matters.
crater.
That's right. Okay. You already touched on this. How much would you weigh on the moon?
I would weigh 50 pounds. At 300 pounds, and one sixth of my weight would be 50 pounds.
Final answer?
Final answer.
All right.
Ask Alexa how much she would weigh on the moon.
Alexa, how much would you weigh on the moon?
Here's what I found on reference.com. According to the Argonne National Laboratory, a human being weighs approximately 1/6 as much on the moon as he does on Earth.
There you go.
If an individual weighs 180 pounds on Earth, that weight is converted to 30 pounds on the moon.
All right. You want to pass or play on this one?
I'm fucking playing. Let's do it.
All
Let's
right.
go.
Is the moon made out of cheese?
Havarti? No, it's not made of cheese.
That's such a stupid question.
Hey, that's a point for Troy. Scoreboard, baby. I'm beating Miss Know-It-All.
You are, actually. Alexa, is the moon made out of cheese?
No, cheese is not used to make moon.
Don't you give her a fucking point.
I'm not. I was just curious.
You better not have.
Ooh. Is it very windy on the moon?
There is no atmosphere on the moon. That's why the Neil Armstrong's footprints will remain for millions of years, granted no catastrophic event such as asteroid will occur.
Very good.
Boom, shakalaka.
Alrighty. Stu says, did they have a built-in AC in that spacesuit?
Yes, they were climate-controlled spacesuits.
More than likely.
There's no more than likely. They were definitely climate-controlled.
Let's see here. Ooh, here's a good one. Who was the last man to walk on the moon?
No, I couldn't tell you.
Oh, come on,
I can't do it. Can't do it.
All right. Alexa, who was the last man to walk on the moon?
The last man to walk on the moon is Eugene Cernan.
That is correct.
I don't even know. Quit fucking with God and Eugene.
Yeah, Gene Cernan, apparently. Let's see here. Ooh. What is the next blue moon?
Like when or what?
What?
The blue moon.
When?
When?
Yeah.
Because the blue moon is a mythical thing. There's no blue moon unless it flies through a volcanic ash or like a giant forest fire. Like the smoke travels in between. That's the only time you can have an actual blue moon.
The answer is whenever Stuart picks one up and drinks it. I'll let that one slide.
Yeah.
Alexa, when is the next blue moon? Alexa, when is the next blue moon?
The next blue moon will occur on October 31st, 2020. Blue moon is the name given to the
That is
second
correct.
full moon to occur in a calendar month, which occurs about once every 2.7 years.
I did read that.
Yep. Okay, here we go.
I thought you meant actual blue moon, which can happen. It takes volcanic ash or smoke from like forest fire, so on and so
Okay.
forth. But I'll shut the fuck up now.
What are the 4 major moon phases?
The 4 major.
Yes.
There's new moon, waning crescent, full moon, waxing crescent.
I'll give it to you.
All right. Well, no. What do you got there?
Let's see here. I've got new moon, first quarter, full moon, last quarter. Which
Okay.
you
Well,
got
yeah,
it.
yeah,
You
yeah.
got
Okay.
it.
Fair
You got
enough.
it. Ooh, here we go.
Oh God.
How much does the moon weigh?
Oh, I knew this once, in like 5th grade. 50 pounds.
Alexa, how much does the moon weigh?
The moon's mass is 1.620 times 10 to the 23rd power pounds.
Or, in this case, 81 quintillion tons.
81 quintillion tons.
That is correct.
81 quintillion.
That is correct.
How do they even? Fucking nerds. Nerds and their calculators.
All right, let's see here. Does the moon have a global magnetic field?
No.
That is correct. Good job, Troy.
Woo!
All right, I got 5 more here. Well, 4 more.
That is a fat bitch, dude.
Okay, ooh, here's a good one. Can you see the Great Wall of China from the moon?
Yes. Yes, you can. Fuck.
Nope. Let's see here. Alexa, can you see the Great Wall of China from the moon?
The Great Wall of China is a series of fortifications built to defend northern borders.
That's
of China.
not what I asked. Shut up,
It is
Alexa.
majorly made of
Alexa,
stone.
off. It says, nope, you cannot see any man-made objects from the moon. Man-made. You cannot see any man.
You can see lights.
You see lights.
That's a total Clayton response.
Yeah, of course.
You can see lights. Those are man-made. So
you can see continents.
Give me a point. Give me a point. I can hear him now.
Okay, here we go. 2 more. Is astronaut Neil Armstrong's footstep still on the moon?
Yes.
That is correct. Yes, the footprints left by the Apollo astronauts will not erode since there is no wind or water on the moon. Which I guess could be argued. Didn't you say there was some water on there?
NASA said they found water in 2009.
Stu says Alexa fucking sucks. Get that hack out of my spot. Okay. Last one. How long does it take for lights on the moon to reach Earth?
1.52 seconds. According to my Google research.
That is correct.
Yeah, buddy.
I did not expect this. The whole bit was for you to just
we done?
lose. We're done. We're
suck
done.
it, you stupid bitch. Fuck you. Just know it all. Oh, yeah. Fuck you, Alexa. You don't know shit.
I really did not expect that to happen. I expected it to be...
You have no faith in your boy. That's why. That's why I'm a fart smeller. How about that? How about that?
Good job, man. You did your research.
Thank you. Thank you. Most of that I already knew.
Well, hopefully you guys learned some shit tonight about the moon.
Dude. Yeah, beat Alexa.
Yeah?
I didn't think that was going to happen.
I didn't think so either.
Man, that was awesome.
There's something else before we get out of here. Stu said Troy wrecked Alexa.
That's right. That's right, I did.
There's some games that you can play. So anyway, if you guys have I'm not even going to say because I don't want it to show up. But if you have any of these things, you can sit there and you can download games, apps, or whatever. You can have a lot of fun. The one you can do, there's like Truth or Dare, there's Jeopardy, there's, I don't know, some other shit. You can look it up on Google. That's pretty much all I have. Do you got anything else?
Moon dust smells like spent gunpowder.
Wow. That was profound.
That's all I've got.
That's it?
That's all I've got.
All right. Well, thanks for playing, everybody. We will see you next Tuesday. Either at 7:30, 8, or 8:30. I'm not too sure.
Depends on what the rest of us want to do.
That's right. Adios.